And State and Local is back on Norfolk Public Access. My name is Marie Battistone, and my guest today is a state committee woman. She is also a part of a set of twins who have been running victory offices in Eastern Massachusetts. And we're lucky enough to have a victory office here in Norfolk, and she's going to talk a little bit about that, or a lot about that. And she's also going to tell us about her experiences running a victory office and what a victory office is. So, listen, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Thanks
Mary.
for having me.
This is Mary Gallagher, excuse me. So Mary, now, tell me a little bit about yourself. You recently won state committee for another district.
I did. I won state committee for Norfolk, Suffolk back in April. This is my first time running for office at all, and it was quite an experience. And I'm very privileged. I am following in the footsteps of Pat Barrett, who was a long-term state committee woman for my area, and she retired, and I was honored to have her support and able to win the office thanks to the good people of Norfolk and Suffolk, and I'm very happy to be representing them. So.
Oh, well, maybe you can come back and talk to us about what it involves running.
Yes, I'd love to. It's a lot of work.
Lower state office. Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, I think, honestly, working in the, both my twin sister and I have had experience campaigning since we were kids. It was something my parents were involved with, and so we were just part of it, and it was something that we took to, and it's been really exciting. We've worked, both my sister and I have worked on local community, all the way from selectmen to city council to state rep, state senate, and governor, treasurer, state treasurer. We worked for Karen Polito when she ran for treasurer. And we've also worked recently on presidential campaigns for Governor Kasich. So, yeah, so we certainly have had a wide-ranging experience of how to do it. And probably the most recent experience we had was with the Mass Victory Program in 2014, which my sister and I co-ran the Dedham office, which you were kind enough to come in and help with us, Anne-Marie. And as you know, I serve with Patricia St. Aubin, who is your state committee woman, and who at the time was running for state auditor. She ran a great campaign. Unfortunately, she fell short, but she has still stayed involved, and it's wonderful.
She's in Cleveland.
She's in Cleveland right now.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I think she's having a good time from the pictures you're seeing. And, yes, obviously the last couple of weeks have been very tragic. I also, my brother serves as a police officer in Boston, so I certainly.
No kidding.
Yeah, so obviously, we share the concerns, and our prayers are always with our men and women in law enforcement.
Absolutely.
Every day they go out there to protect us, and I think what's happened recently has really been very tragic.
Oh.
And hopefully, I posted this yesterday on Facebook, and I really think we need to stop yelling. We need to start listening. We need to stop marching. We need to start joining. We need to become productive members of society, and get involved. And yes, if something makes you outraged, that's why we live in a democracy. Exactly. It's what it's what I fought for when I was in the Air Force for 12 years. I mean, this is what we should be living.
You wonder, are there going to be more police taking early retirement? Are they just not going to go into it? Then where will they be?
Yeah, exactly.
With a diminished force. But now your sister works. Does she work
right.
the Mass GOP?
My sister works for Mass Victory, which is an arm. So just to explain the Victory Program very quickly, every state has a Victory Program, and it works in conjunction with the state GOP, but it is also an arm of the RNC. So what that means is, while my sister works for Mass Victory and she coordinates with the Massachusetts GOP, she's also making calls at the federal level. So if people are interested in, coming down to 194 Main Street in Norfolk, 9 to 5 right now, Monday through Saturday. But starting in September, as everyone gets back into school, it'll be going much later. But for right now, it's 9 to 5. And,
is that right next to Bork's?
It is,
okay.
right next to Bork's, which I understand is a famous restaurant here in Norfolk.
Some.
But a delicious breakfast I had it the other day. But anyways, so basically so every state has this program. And the idea of it is to help lower ballot candidates. I mean, that is the focus of the Victory program.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean is so obviously we're in a presidential year, so that's the number one ballot, right? That's the highest thing, right? The presidential race. Second would be, your state, if you have a U.S. Senate race going on, a governor's race. In our case, we're running state representatives. We have Sean Dooley in this area. We have Stephen Howitt. We are also doing Senator Richard Ross. We're also involved with
and Trump.
Right. Well, as I said, lower ballot candidates. So these are the lower ballots that we're doing. So
lower down.
Right, lower down. So we say lower ballot, but lower down candidates. So I said Ross, and the next one would be Representative Poirier, which I had said. And then
are they all running?
They are all running for re-election. And then we also have Tim Hempton.
In November?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well,
and we also have Tim Hempton running against John Rogers in Norwood. So he's running, and we also have Representative Barrows running for re-election as well. So my sisters, and the race that they're also very focused on is Brad Williams, who is running for governor's council. And Brad is the former state committee man for my district. And he is now the vice chair of the West Roxbury Ward Committee, and he is running for governor's council.
Oh, all right.
So you can find more information at bradwilliams.com.
So now, by the way, is there any kind of a little website for our Victory office?
So if you go to Massachusetts Republican Party, you can go and click on Victory offices, and up there will come the 16 Victory offices that are across the state. And you just pick on your district, and it'll give you the name of the director, deputy, and their phone numbers, and you can reach out to them. And so it's a fantastic program. It's very accessible. There's also Facebook pages. We're very engaged in social media. And I think it's a great program. As a state committee woman,
Do the Democrats have that?
Yeah, they probably have something similar, but I think what's really important, Anne-Marie, is that as a state committee woman, these are the things I ran on, which was to help the lower ballot candidates, to get more state. This is what Governor Baker needs. He needs more Republicans in the legislature. He needs them. Needs them to be selectmen. He needs them to be on the school committees, but he really needs them in the legislature. And as you see, he's fighting an uphill battle, and we need to give him all the help we can. And obviously, you guys are so fortunate to have so many Republicans in this area. I come from a district that is not that fortunate, and we are fighting, the good fight. And but we need to get them elected because, we need to have people who reflect the ideas of our community. And I think that, Representative Dooley obviously does that for you guys. Representative Poirier, who's been a long-term, and Representative Barrows and Steve Howitt in his area. But,
Barrows,
yeah, very good. And in my district, though, we don't have a representative or state senator that represents the ideals of my district. And so, it's critical to start working that area.
Now, let me ask you, so they go on the site, and then, so in other words, are the people that are at this Victory office are only this district?
This district.
Ross's district and Dooley's. And
Right.
it's kind of confusing because I looked up online, and for example, the senatorial district is part of this, the precinct from that, this and that.
Yeah.
I think we're going to put that up on the.
Well, if you go to see how it was broken up is it doesn't reflect the way they did it was they created regions.
Yeah.
So it's not reflective of a senatorial district. Do you
But they
know?
overlap, don't they?
A little bit, yeah, but we're all working on the same. We're all working for the same
True,
goal. So
true.
even if we overlap a little bit in a victory office in another area, it's fine because we're all working towards that goal. And I should tell you that Helen's office has only been there for a couple of weeks, and they've already made 6,000 calls.
Get out.
6,000 calls. They've knocked on over close to 2,000 doors.
You were out in that vicious heat the other
Yeah.
day when you called me. Was it you who called me? No, I think it was
Helen, but I was with her.
Oh my God.
But that's what you do. I mean, my sister and I, I come from, I was originally born in Norwood but raised in West Roxbury. So my family is Boston oriented. So
Did you go to the Shaw?
I did not. I went to the Beethoven.
Oh.
I went to the so then I went to Catholic school after that. But my parents were very involved. They had grown up, lived in Boston their whole lives, Dorchester, Roxbury, and then they moved to West Roxbury. And my family was very involved in Democratic politics before they became Republicans. My mom and dad were Reagan Democrats. And
Wow.
that's what happened. And so, but at a very young age, I was out helping my dad, give paper to do, just do lit drops or knock on doors or make phone calls, And what's amazing about now is we don't need any of that paper anymore.
Right.
We do it all on an app.
Right.
We work with a program that's called Pinpoint. We actually download the app to our phones or to our iPads, and we can make the calls from a coffee shop, from our home, from our car, and we can knock on the doors we want in our neighborhood. We don't need, so much for it. So it's really an amazing program. It changed it. Look, Governor Baker won by 40,000 votes. I'm happy to tell you, as I sit here today, that those 40,000 votes came out of my sister and I's district that we were in charge of, which was Norfolk, Suffolk. We got him those 40,000 votes. We were the #1 office for victory.
No, you know that just from your records.
We
at
know
the
it
victory
because
office.
at every office we keep track of them, and they do conference calls in which they tell everybody. We had to report every night what our numbers were. Every morning we had target goals. So that it's a very precise program. It runs very effectively. It's like sort of being in the military a little bit, which was easy for me.
You served.
I did.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Thank
Now,
you.
so to get back to this, so they
Yeah.
would go on the website, and then, but people who are not from this district can come over and help.
Of course, if they want,
And-
but they
and
do
when-
have somebody in every district is represented, so you can find a victory office in
okay.
your region. So, but you're more than happy to. Whoever you want to help out, you're happy to. But what I'd like to just take this quick opportunity is to say, because we get a lot of calls. My sister gets a lot of calls about Donald Trump.
Yes.
And what we say is we do have a question. You pick the candidate you want to call for, and the last question that we ask the caller is, who are you voting for on the presidential year?
Okay.
And that's your opportunity to come out and help Donald Trump. And look, whatever, I worked for Governor Kasich, my sister worked for Governor Kasich, but it is what it is. We are, he is our candidate. And I think you really just have to ask yourself, do you really want to vote for more of the same? Because that's what you'd be voting for with
Please.
Hillary Clinton.
That's the least of it.
Yeah.
So now when they go, so tell me about the phone bank.
Yeah.
And how that's going to be set up.
well,
how many phones have
basically-
you got down there?
Well, we don't have actual phones. Like
Oh, you
I said,
don't?
We use laptops.
I
You
meant to
remember
say-
that.
oh,
You remember
okay.
that.
I
Amy,
meant to
because
say-
yeah, you use them.
I'm an old lady. I meant to
No, not at all. But but right, true, right? We all remember having phone. But I mean, I'm probably the last that remembers a phone. I don't, but we have laptops,
Right,
and
with
we
the
dial
headsets.
through the program. So if you want to come in, you're more than welcome to. But honestly, if you have an iPhone, an Android, if you have a laptop yourself, you can download this app and do it from home. And what's
Do
a
they
great
need to
thing?
come in and see you to do
Yeah,
that?
so the best thing to do is because you have to learn the program.
Right.
So the best thing to do, Anne-Marie, is to go onto Mass GOP, click on the victory offices. You will see the name and contact information for your director. In this area, it's Helen Gallagher. You'll see her phone number. Her deputy is Brian Bogey, a very nice young man, a student at Boston College. He is, you'll see his phone number and an email address, and you can reach out to them and make an appointment to come on in, and we'll show you how the program. But, with the RTCs, we do encourage having them come into the office.
Right.
It is rather small. We're I'm not going to lie to you.
How
It's
many
not as
setups?
large as the Dedham office was.
How many
Laptops we have 7.
Oh.
I think, or maybe 10.
Oh, that's not bad.
There could be more, but I'm pretty sure there's about 7 or 10. There's a couple that aren't working right at the moment. I know,
Now I remember in Dedham you set out food and you had stuff to drink.
and we do the same thing here. You know that we try
It's
to
a lot of fun.
Yes.
To go there and call and then hang out for a few minutes and get back and call.
Exactly. I always thought that was what I thought one of the reasons why we were so successful, both my sister and I, is that we made the office very welcoming, and we made it welcoming to anybody.
Oh,
meaning,
yes.
if you even if you didn't agree with, but you just wanted to call for Patricia St. Aubin,
Right.
that we were like fine with
Right.
that, and that was the point. It was to help everybody. But right now these state reps that are running, it's a presidential year. It's always very difficult for Republicans in the state in a presidential year. So I really, even though oh God, she's Representative Poirier or
They're all
Sean.
set.
Sean's got it. I don't need to worry about. No, not really. Coming in and making a few calls really would help him a lot, and would help all of them in that way. And so really would ask people, even if you're not happy with what's going on with the presidential candidates, please think about helping out Brad Williams. The governor really needs to have someone like Brad on the governor's council.
Now, what does the governor's council do?
So it's a great question, right? The governor's council is a position. We are the only state to have it. It goes
Really?
back. It goes back to goes back to colonial times.
Is that right?
It's amazing.
Huh.
So basically, what they do, it's made up of I want to say 9, and the lieutenant
so.
governor. And the lieutenant governor is she breaks the tie. So what they do is actually very critical, which a lot of, I think, citizens of the state don't know. Which
No, they
is
don't.
They appoint the judges. The governor can name somebody,
that's right.
but
Yes.
the governor's council has to approve it. And so the governor's council, could right now is made up of people who predominantly do not agree with the governor, and so it would
Isn't it mostly they mostly come from the party of the governor?
Well, no, you run in your district.
Oh,
so
right,
and
okay.
for Brad, just so you have an idea of it, Brad's district starts at West Roxbury and goes all the way to Seekonk. It's 5 senatorial
goodness.
districts. Yeah, and so Brad is out there. He's raising money. He's going out there knocking doors, making phone calls, and he could really use your support. And
Maybe
again,
we can talk to Brad.
we're going to get Brad. He's in West Roxbury, but we're going to get Brad down here to do an interview. Definitely have my word on that. But he can really, but more importantly, the governor and lieutenant governor really could use Brad's help on the governor's council.
What's the breakdown of party-wise on that? Could you happen to know?
It is only one Republican. So, and she's from, I want to say Central Mass.
Well,
but,
she's done but I mean, she has really stood up
right, but
in the past.
But well, you can stand up, but I mean, you're
I know,
outnumbered.
but I mean, I remember Howie Carr talking about her a number of times.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're outnumbered. And,
right.
It's the same way.
With the
When the
legislature.
governor, the governor's faced with the legislature. And the governor, one of the reasons why this program came back was because Governor Baker realized how successful it was for his campaign, and he wanted to help all of the lower ballot candidates. He wants to get the state representatives reelected. He wants to get the Republicans that are running for state rep, state senate elected. And so and he wants to obviously get governor council members. There's also, and I should be, in all fairness, mention that another Republican is running out in, I want to say Central Mass, Richard Baker, or Baker. I don't know his first name, but his last name is definitely Baker, and he's running for governor's council as well. So
now, if you go over here and spend some time at the Victory office, then will you hear about all the different parties and fundraisers? Will that all be posted?
Yeah, I
to
mean,
an
we do.
extent,
Yeah,
if you want to.
As much information as we get, we certainly will share with you. Both my sister and I have we're very happy to say that we have a really nice working relationship with both sides of the Republican Party in this state and nationally, and you know what I mean by that, Anne Marie. So, and we, we welcome everybody, and we certainly will encourage people to go to events. I mean, what Victory does, and the idea of it is, along with making phone calls and door knocking, they will also staff events. They will let people know. They will come, to an RTC meeting.
Now, so that would be
any of the reps or any of the candidates that are in the district hosting an event. They will staff the event for the candidate. And
by they you mean the Victory office?
Yes. So my sister and Brian and all the volunteers, and they've had, and to be honest, we've had an amazing response from young people. It's been wonderful. We've had students from, my sister will tell you, students from Wellesley High School that are in there making calls. We've got a young man who's heading out to Michigan University in the fall, Addison, a wonderful young man. He and his mother have been in there making phone calls.
You know, I went to a rally back. Good Lord, it was ice. It must have been in the spring. It was very cold. I went to a Trump rally in Lowell.
Yes.
Now, granted, it was on the campus, but
Right.
it was loaded with young people. I mean,
Yes.
I was astonished.
Well, you know, I always thought one
I
of the
really
things
was.
about Governor Baker's. A lot of people would tell you if you had witnessed the victory party that night, it was a lot of young people.
I went
there.
to that.
It was a lot of young people. I think I ran into you at one point.
Yep, two of you.
I had a couple of, but we had a good time. Anyways, but I mean, it was, and I think it's been wonderful to see that because my sister and I were young people involved with
Right.
the party, and really early days. We were involved in it when Weldon Salucci were running, and John's. That's when we first got into the Republican Party in the state, and it's been wonderful to see that. And you know, listen. You know, we work for Kasich up in New Hampshire, but I certainly stand in awe of what Mr. Trump has done on winning the nomination, the process. I think, to be fair, he's changed how you're going to run for president in the future, and it's. I do applaud him for what he's done, and I do think he, you know, you try to take the good. I try to say he's signed up a lot of people to the party, and I think that's a good thing.
Yes.
And we need to.
There were
move
some
forward with that.
defections, I understand, but
I mean, like people who have never been in the Republican Party before.
True.
You know, voters. He's had a lot of people who took that ballot that never took that ballot before.
now I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Patricia St. Aubin from
Yes.
Norfolk is over there now.
She sure is. She's there
Oh,
with her
man.
husband. Yeah, there. And I think they're having.
Better her than me. I'm kind of a chicken about
Really?
those. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's
because
just
of
been
what's
so,
happened. Yeah,
brutal.
Well, it's always a heightened security event. I mean, it's a major event, but I do feel like, you know, people.
Well, it's the right thing to do,
Yeah.
to go and be there.
You know, I did too. I mean, I didn't, run for a delegate. I thought it was great that Patricia did, and I was.
Who else
really
is there
happy.
from Massachusetts? Do you know?
Bill McKinney, my counterpart for Norfolk. Bill McKinney is there as a delegate. Charles Grillo is also there as a
okay.
delegate, and obviously the national committee members. You know, Chanel Pruner. This is her last event as a national committee woman. Keiko overall takes over at the end of the month, and Keiko is there along with Ron Kaufman and the chairwoman. Kirsten Hughes. Yeah.
So is that number based on the number of Republicans in a given state or the number of Democrats?
You know, honestly, it's a great question, Anne Marie. I want to say that it's broken down by the percentage of votes that he got in the state, but I really honestly don't.
Yeah, I
I'm
think it'd
happy
have
to
to be
look it up
something
for
like
you, though,
that.
and come back and tell you. I'd be happy to. But I think it's the percentage of what the vote total was in the state.
That's what it has to be
and
something
he won
like that.
so overwhelmingly because there are a lot of people who went as delegates, so and I'm kind of
pretty
missing out.
exciting. I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
really-
think it's exciting.
my
I think
goodness.
conventions are always exciting. Isn't it nice to get together with people, like-minded people, and share with it? And I realize this one's a little different, but I'm interested to see how it's going to play out. I thought the role. I was happy to see the choice of Mike Pence as vice president. I think he's a solid man. I think he's a good man, and I think he's going to help Mr. Trump in the Midwest. And but more importantly, I think he's going to help lower ballot candidates. Because I think he's going to help energize, get more of that Midwestern vote out, and help folks there. And I think that'll be good. So.
Now tell me, how many victory offices have you and your sister, or either one of you, won? And do you have any anecdotes, anything that's happened?
It's funny. The only victory we've run we've run campaign offices in the past. Victory offices. The first one we were involved with was with Governor Baker, and I think like anything.
And that was Dedham?
That was Dedham.
Okay.
And I think like anything, it's the I think the anecdotes is. Campaigning is a very interesting thing because you can meet very interesting people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I think that's I would always say to people, you have to be a people person. And,
Oh, definitely.
And I like that. I like conversation, and I enjoy that. So I enjoy meeting the people. But you do get some characters that'll walk in there and tell you stuff, and tell you some crazy things. But I think for the most part, I think the most fun we had was probably on election night because we had done so much work. It was work that campaign in 2014, you know, we worked for Karen Polito 4 years earlier for state treasurer, and I had just been discharged from the military. And one of the things that
Now, where did you serve?
I served, well, I was all over, but I did serve in Afghanistan and Iraq, and it was just an amazing part of, you know, my life. But coming home, you know, Karen was very good to me, and that was probably my first, I mean, it was a shoebox campaign, and she got 1 million votes, so it was amazing. And when she ran again, she asked Helen and I to do it, and, you know, we started in, literally, I was hired in November, just about a week before Thanksgiving. Helen came on right after that, and literally, I remember us standing, it was that bad winter, and I remember at Roach Brothers in West Roxbury, like just standing in the snow, you know, it was just trying to get signatures for him. And I think that's and then you get to election night, and it's like, you know, and it was kind of, you know, there was a little bit of, because she wouldn't, you know, give up the race and, you know, the votes and everything, but we knew by midnight we had won, and it was just like, oh my God, we had really done this. And, you know, that part of it was really amazing. And then, you know, it's like an adrenaline rush, you know, and then you want to do it again. I mean, you're exhausted, you don't want to do anything, and then you want to do it again.
Yeah, it's definitely for somebody that really does like to engage.
You have to love it, yeah.
Although, if you just want to get on the laptop and that's all you want to do, and you don't want to,
you know, sometimes people,
socialize
because you know somebody's a friend who's running for office. You're not really that politically minded, but you want to help your friend. Well, you don't. If you feel more comfortable making them at home or on your phone, you can do that.
Now, you did say that if they will have to go in to get it set up to do it at home.
Yeah, you definitely need to come in and do it set up. But however you get, you know, once you're set up, you can do it any way you want. And we just hope. Look, democracy only works if we all get involved in it. And as somebody who's been in a lot of parts of the world, a lot of it the Middle East and Africa, I have seen firsthand what it is to for people to live in a country full of tyranny. So as bad as some people may think this country is, we are still,
no idea.
We are still God's blessing on this earth. And so I urge everyone to get out in November and vote whichever way you're going to vote, but get out there and vote because it's so important.
I'm just curious, have you ever had anybody come in and sort of to come in and sabotage and make the wrong kinds of calls or say things? Has that ever happened?
We did have one incident. Somebody came in who was running for Felchuk. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yeah, Felchuk's campaign, and she came in. We didn't know it at the time. We found out the day later. But she was trying to learn the system. She was kind of an idiot. And from the get-go, I thought she was kind of weird. And then she just came in, and we never saw her again after that. But yeah, that happened once. But honestly, no. Most people, if they didn't like us, they would just come in and give us grief, and then they turn around and walk out.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, once they meet my sister and I, and
we
don't take too much crap from anybody.
So now
we're very unique.
So now you're going to come back and talk about
I absolutely
campaigning.
will. I'd be happy to.
And then I'm going to get. I got to say, I must have been out of the loop. Well, I had a friend die. About all these. Thank you. About all these people running in November. So maybe they can come and
we definitely.
speak.
I can tell you. I can speak for Brad. Brad will be here. We will have Brad here.
All right.
In the process, Anne Marie, let's get democracy moving. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. And so that is the Victory Office in Norfolk, 159.
194 Main Street.
194 Main Street, 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday.
Saturday, yep. And then in September they'll have later hours.
And then again, go online. The website is
GOP.
Mass GOP, and you can look for check on the Victory offices, which one would be yours if you're watching in another town. And I want to thank you for watching. We'll be back again with some more interviews. I'm Anne Marie Battistone. My guest is Mary Gallagher.
Thank you.
State Committee Woman for the District of
Norfolk, Suffolk.
All those names. All right. Thank you for watching.